Hello everyone, this is Johannes.
And this is Cinema.
And you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings.
And today we are taking a look at mobile markets.
This is a smartphone Inc. game from the designer Ivan Lashin and it's published by Cosmodrome Games and Arcane Wonders.
It plays for 1 to 4 players in about 60 minutes.
Yes, so let's talk about mobile markets. This is instead a smartphone Inc. game and we have played Smartphone Inc.
Yes, once.
Yeah, I played it. I played it 1.5 times because I played it
time.
at Spiel. And we played one game where we also played some rules wrong, so we had basically not played the full game. But I did enjoy my place or the experience I had. I did not enjoy it enough to buy the game when it first came out. The last day OS, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy it, but then it was sold out.
Yeah.
Like it was one of those. I had more room in the suitcase, so I wanted to buy it, but then it was already sold out.
So you didn't need it.
No, it wasn't like high on the list. But Mobile Markets now promises to be a more like kind of distilled version without the map. It's a card-based game. So yeah, in this game, like overview time. Dun, 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 overview. In this game, you are a publisher, not a publisher, you are a manufacturer of mobile phones. And in mobile markets, you are selling to individual customers. So basically you have a storefront, I guess, where people can come and buy your phones. So you want to up your marketing, you want to get better technology, better like stuff for your factories, but also better technology for your phone. Like I want to have a flip phone now, or I want to have an 8K camera, or I want to have my phone to be 5G enabled. So those are the things you're going to do, and then people are going to come and you're going to sell to them. So basically you have a pool of customers that everybody sells to, and if you have the lowest price, they're going to come to you first. But if you don't have the features they want, or if your price is too high or something like that, they will not buy from you. So you're trying to like manipulate your price, manipulate your phone to get the most profit and also sell to the most amount of customers. And it's all done with the little tiles that you also had in mobile, now in the Smartphone Inc., where you place those. That was kind of my favorite part of Smartphone Inc., where you had those tablets and you place them on top of each other to choose what actions and what abilities you're going to have throughout the round. And that's what you're going to do here. It's 5 rounds, small event every round, and the player who sells the most phones, basically who earns the most profit throughout those 5 rounds, is going to be the winner of mobile markets.
Yeah.
That is basically what you do in the game. A brief overview with some pictures and stuff so you understand it, because that's the point of that little part of the video.
Yeah, so let's talk about the looks of it first. I think it looks very good. The pictures, it's not pictures, but the artwork of the people with the phones, it looks very like it looks like a stock photo or a mobile ad. I think it fits perfectly. Like all genders, ages, and ethnicities are like included. I feel like so I feel like everyone is happy about their new phone. A woman is jogging. It's a student here. It's like a grandpa. I think
you have made like stories for these people.
Yeah. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, I think it looks good. I think that the graphic design is good. I think like everything is clear. I think one thing though that you need to know is that this game is a table hog.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's just a lot of cards, because there is a lot of cards. There's going to be a row of like, there's going to be the board basically. You're then going to have a lot of customers piled all the way across them. Then you're going to have 3 other rows of cards. Then you're going to have your player boards. Then you're going to have your rows of marketing and technology cards, your row of technology for the phones. You're also going to have the events. You're going to have then the different tokens that you need. So there's a lot of
private customers as well.
It takes a lot of space. Like basically we have played this on big tables and we have kind of had problems getting it to look normal in a way that makes sense.
Yes.
So just know that, like it's gonna be a smaller game, but I would say this game takes more space than Smartphone Inc., which is just the board. I don't remember the size of the board. It basically it's gonna be kind of the same.
Okay.
So maybe a bit smaller, but it feels big.
But it's like for this little box,
yes.
I didn't like anticipate the big space it needed on the table.
That is true. So yeah, rulebook wise, it's neat. Like the game is pretty straightforward, and one thing I like, and I like this in games, you know that now, I like games where you have like, now you're gonna do this thing, and now you're gonna do this thing, like the faces are very distinct.
Yeah.
And the faces are very, like there's a lot of faces, I think like 8 faces in each round, but they're very short.
And they're very easy to follow because like every descriptions are on the board. I like that, but like after one round, when you say, oh now it's the market face, you know what to do.
And you know that we talk about like player aids. The board basically has 90% of the rules of the
So
game.
you don't need it.
You don't really need. The only thing you need to know is how to sell to customers. Basically, and we're
Yeah.
going to talk more about that soon.
Yes.
But I really enjoy that, and I enjoy that the phases are so easy. As you see, like when you one of them, you just do it, and it's that's that phase, and we skip it, and
Yeah.
we're done. So I really enjoyed that, and the rule book is simple to learn from. So like it's a very smooth game to learn, except for one thing, which is the selling to the customers. So we're going to talk about that soon.
Yeah, first
So gameplay.
playtime and player count.
Yes.
I think we should talk about. I think we played it 2, 3, and 4 players.
We did. Did not play the solo mode, but other than that, all the other player counts.
All of the player counts took us more than an hour. Like an hour with 2 players
Yes.
was the fastest we played. The box says 1 hour. I don't think you're going to play this in 1 hour with 4 people. But you can try.
You will some of these games. I'm like looking at the playtime and thinking, okay, and I'm then dividing it and seeing how much playtime do they think people should have. And it's not a lot of minutes. Basically, when it's your turn, you're just going to do something without thinking to get it to make 60 minutes.
Now I'm segueing a little bit into gameplay here, but it's a very interactive game. That means that if I have a high price and I sell my cell phone after 2 other players, I might do like something else than I was planning to do, and that makes like a little thinking for, okay, if I put on this feature on my phone, then this guy and this person will have it. But then I can't sell to these. Okay, if I switch the features, then I can sell to 3 people. So you're kind of you're kind of like making the plan as you go.
Yeah.
So if you had a plan, you might need some minutes to rearrange your thoughts.
And this is again like one of my things I don't like. Why only have like one time on your box? Why not say like 60 to 90 minutes?
Well,
we know for now that almost all times on board game boxes are lies.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, that's another question. Why do they have to lie about that? Why not just like this might be the gameplay. If you play it 50 times and you know everything with the same group, you can play it in an hour.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't see how that happened. But it's not a big thing, just so you know that. Like if you think it's going to be like a filler for 60 minutes, it's not going to be that. At least not for quite a few games.
Yeah.
So then we're going to go into gameplay, which I tried to do a couple of times, but you're like smart remembering the things we actually talked about. So gameplay, it's pretty straightforward. You are doing like most of the phases are very straightforward. Most of them are like, oh, I can buy a card. I can buy this card. Not to say that that's a bad thing, because it makes the game flow. And like the planning phase is one when you...
Yeah, let's talk about that.
When you place those...
I think it's interesting, the planning phase.
It's the one where you take the tablets and you place them on top of each other.
I don't think it's like... I don't think it's like crucial, you know, because the only thing that I'm very, very like strict on when I'm doing the planning is my price, and that is like the core thing. Do I want to sell my phones cheap so I can sell first? Which customers are available this turn? Are they wanting my features, or do they want some other features? And then I have to be fast so I can sell for a lower price, so they want it anyways. Well, and how much you produce also is very important. You want to produce a lot, but if you want to produce the maximum, your price is going to be low. So is it worth it? The other stuff, like the marketing and like the technology that you can
basically
get,
the only 2 other things, right?
Yeah,
because you have the goods, you have the price, and you have those 2. Yeah.
And marketing. And those 2 aren't that important, but I like scan over and see, okay, are there cheap things now, or are they expensive?
Yeah, I agree. I think like the most important thing is the price. Yeah. Choosing where you want to be depending on what kind of project you want to make. So I basically agree with everything you said.
And that makes like the next step very interesting, because then you set actually your price for and that also is your turn order for everything that you do. And that means that we do that like planning in secret, and then I can say like, oh no, I set my price too high and everyone's gonna sell before me. Are there gonna be customers left for me?
Yeah.
That is cool.
I like that. It's kind of like in one of my favorite heavy games, Arkwright. It's like it's a bit much heavier thing there, but that was one of the things I thought about when I played it. It's like, okay, I want to see where I'm going to sell it so that I actually have customers to sell to. And that is a mechanism I really enjoy. It's a very much lighter here, but it is like yes, doesn't try to be a heavy economic game. It's a light economic game. So I think that it managed to do that very well in that capacity.
Yeah, I agree. I think the two next steps are nice as well. It's upgrading your phone and also getting new customers or getting some special abilities. That can be like extra money when you sell to certain stuff, or some bonuses that makes you bend some rules, or end game scoring, which I think is nice. I think like all of them makes you kind of focus on some things.
I feel like a lot of the differentiations in strategies lies in the technology and the marketing cards.
Yeah.
Because those will make, as you said, they will bend the rules for you. Like, for example, last time we played, you had a card where your private customers, which are basically cards you can draw and only you can sell to, and you have to sell to them, thought you had all of the features of the phone.
Yeah.
So they, like, you didn't need to put on, like, when you build your phone later, you didn't need to have a flip phone, you didn't need to have 8K, because you just had that for the private customers.
Yeah, that was so neat, because I only needed to have like a set amount of quality on my phone, and they would buy it no matter what quality like feature was on it. So
yeah, and you also had a card that said
freedom.
that everybody and that all of your stars in your cards you didn't use also counted. So
Yeah,
basically you could
super
build a
cool.
very cheap phone that had everything for your private customers.
That is cool.
So there's a lot of those, and they are very different. So I feel like that was kind of like a different way to play that you have done the
Yes.
other times you played.
Absolutely.
So I feel like there is a variability. Basically, I think the variability in the game is there in those cards, which changes up how you play the game.
Well, it also depends on which customers are available. I feel like.
Yeah, but that is gonna be. It's going to be a bit different, but it's not like in the end it's going to be, this time it's only blue customers. So because
agree.
the event cards every round is going to like add another customer you add at the beginning of the round, and so it's 5 of them, so it's probably not going to be like 4 or 1. That might happen, but I don't feel, for me, it doesn't change the game too much because of that. Depending but I really enjoy those technologies because they will change. Like, for example, when you did that, you wanted to have a lot of private customers.
Yes.
But the thing about having a lot of private customers, then you don't interact so much with the market, which means that when you play a 2-player game, if I know you're going for private customer strategy, I can basically sell to whoever I want to. So let's talk a bit about the selling to customers, because that is kind of the big thing. So when you go to the sales part of the round, I'm going to build my phone. So every round I can use the features I have to build my phone, and I find out what the price of the phone is. And so like the manufacturing cost, and then I have my price. Let's say I put my price to 4, and I have a base cost of 1, and I put one feature that costs 1. That means my profit's going to be 2. So I spend 2 and I get 2 for each phone. And then I'm going to start selling. So you always start selling to your private customers if they want to. There's 3 different kind of customers. One that only care about price, one that care about price, but if you have some special features, they will pay whatever, and one that basically don't care about price. They can pay whatever they want if they have these specific things.
Yeah.
One thing about this game that has happened to everybody we played with is that it's kind of confusing the first time you play to understand who you can sell to. Because let's say my price is 4. That means that I can sell to every customer that has a 4 and higher, because they have like the maximum price they want to pay. And everyone we played with, we did some mistakes regarding that the first time I played with new players.
Yeah, you always, like in board games and other stuff in the world, you're kinda used to thinking the opposite. If I have like a cost of 4, I can sell everything up to 4. Like 4 is the maximum. But here it's opposite. 4 is the minimum. Like everyone that wants something less than 4, you can't sell to, because your product is too expensive. And you can sell to the ones that want an 8, because of course he wants a phone for 4 if he can get one. If he wants it. But we played that wrong. Like all the time the first time we played it, we were just like, no, you can't sell to this one. And well, yes, you can. So it was a lot of that. But when you get your brain around that, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
It does. I think that, and it also makes sense because you have, that's one of the reasons that you have the customers lined up under each number. So when I have my cube at 4, I can sell to this. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Somehow our brains and the people we played with kind of didn't work with that. So when that works, it's more interesting. It's really interesting because a lot of, like, you always have to sell to your private customers, then you have to sell to the cheapest customers, like the ones that want the less. And that is basically what makes the game work, because if I run a strategy where I always sell like dirt cheap phones, I'm only going to sell to basically, I'm probably going to sell a lot of phones, but I'm also then usually need to have some private customers to sell as many as I want to. And I'm probably not going to go all the way up to the top. So if you then say, okay, you're probably going to sell up to maybe 5 or 6, I am going to push my price up then and sell fewer phones, but for like 4 times the price that you're selling them for and earn more money. And I think that when we played this at a 2-player game, every time I felt like, oh, but I could just like, how can you stop this strategy? And I thought for like 30 seconds, like, okay, you can just do it this way. So I really feel like you might feel when you play that, oh, but if I go very cheap and I sell lots of phones, and if you sell many phones, you get a bonus for selling the most phones, you will win. But I don't think that is the case, because there is... I did win when we played 2-player game yesterday, but if you had gotten that strategy started like 1 round earlier, you would have won. So I was like 50 points ahead of you, and I ended up at like 10 points more.
Yes, I think like every strategy is viable, but it's definitely very possible to do a boo-boo. If I'm, for example, selling phones dirt cheap, and one other person who hasn't been doing that suddenly are in front of me, like in third order, I can then be stuck with, if I didn't have any features that the people wanted.
Like I did yesterday.
Yeah, then I'd suddenly didn't be able to like sell the phones that I wanted to sell. And that I think is more likely to happen in a 4-player game. I think it's tighter, but it still scales pretty well, I feel
would say so, yeah.
But we had some moments the first time we played it with 4 where the one person selling expensive phones only get to sell to 1 or 2 customers. But then you might go for a private customer strategy. So you kind of always have to react to what your opponents are doing. I think it's a very interactive game.
Oh yeah, like parts of it is very interactive. Like when you come to the selling part, it basically interaction is done. There's a turn order, basically say, oh, where do I end up in third order? You can say that. Okay, I'm gonna try to then get some private customers so I can actually sell to somebody.
Yeah, but absolutely, that also happens when we played 4-player more than 2-player. Yeah. I could see okay, I have now this choice between this camera feature or this 5G feature. What do you have on your phone?
Oh yeah.
How can I take your customers?
Absolutely.
Which also is, but you have to be okay with that in this game.
Yeah, it doesn't feel mean to me. Basically, it feels that you're doing the best for you. Basically, because I want to sell to the most people, so I need to sell to those people to get the most coins. So I feel like we talked a lot about the different things in the game. So the big question everybody wants to know then is it fun? Do we like it? Should we do some final thoughts?
Yes, I like it. I think it has taken the best things from Smartphone Inc. No,
yes, that's the name of the game. That's correct.
And basically distill it, as you said. I think it's a good game that works very fine. I think I'm not always in the mood for these kind of games because sitting and thinking, okay, what price do you are aiming for? Do I need to be before you to sell what I want to do? It's a little
mind games.
Yeah, it's a little mind games, but I think it's a very good game. I think it has solid mechanisms. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, so I think it's a fine game as well. I think that there is so many things done right here, and I think that it feels a bit fiddly for me, you're placing 16 more cards and I'm gonna buy these cards and there's all these cards over here. So it feels a bit like it takes a lot of room, it feels a bit fiddly, it feels a bit messy when you play it. But the gameplay is very smooth, and I do enjoy the gameplay. I think that this is another light economic game that you can get people into to see if they might enjoy bigger economic games. So if you just like light games, then you can just enjoy this. I think it's a solid game as well. I don't think it's fantastic. I'm having fun when I'm playing it, but I'm not having that, oh, I'm loving this feeling inside of my body. It is a fun game. It's a fun game. I'm going to give it a 7 as well. Absolutely, if you are in the mood for a lighter economic game, I think you should check this out.
Yes.
I think personally, my feelings from Smartphone Inc., I think I would rather play that, because then you have the board, you have you have a lot of the things from here, but just a bit more fleshed out, basically.
Yeah.
So that's the end of another review.
It is.
If you are still here and you have not subscribed, you can do so now by
clicking the subscribe button.
And that is free and it's fun for everyone. If you want to do something that's not free, you can go to patreon.com/boardgamingramblings and help us out there as well. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes.
I'm Söderman.
And you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye bye.